This tutorial is step 5 of user account email verification in Spring Boot. In step 5, we are going to be creating the account verification email context, and we are going to be creating it in the mailing directory. I'm going to call it account email context. And of course, you know that this class will extend the abstract email context. So we are going to extend the abstract email context so that we have those fields available. So now we need to initialize this context, and we are going to override the init methods. So I'm going to override, actually, I'm going to override the init methods. I don't know if I can find it. Okay. So init, and so in this init methods, okay, we need a context. Okay, so we are going to set all the properties, the from, the to, and so on. For this context, for an email to be sent, we also need the token. So this account verification email context, we need the user token because that will be sent as well to the email, to the user's email. A token will be sent along, that will be used for verification. So we need that token to be sent as a string because it will be baked into the URL. So we now have to set the properties, the user. So the next thing we want to do, we want to now set the properties. And to set the properties, we are going to put things into that hash map. We are going to, because once we initialize, we now have the hash map. Remember, we have this hash map, which is the context. Actually, yeah, the context is the hash map. So we are going to put things into the contexts. Okay. So the put method has to be created in the abstract email context. So we are going to create that method here. So So in the abstract email context, the second parameter should actually be an object. Okay, so sorry for this mix-up. So we put the first name. Okay, so you may be asking, why do we have to put the first name? Because we will need to use this in the email template to give a greeting, for instance. So, for instance, in the email you send, you might need to use this first name as a greeting in your email. So that's why we are putting this email, this first name in the context. Set template location. We are going to have the template located in a mailing directory, and the location is we are going to call the file email verification. We're also going to set the subject. Set subject. The subject is going to be complete your registration, and we also need to set the from and to. Set from kanimono@gmail, and the to email will be the email of the user in question. So user.get email. So the next thing we want to do is we want to set the token of this context. So I'm going to create a method set token, and it's going to take a string, and it's going to just set it. Token is equal to token. We are going to put the token into the context as well. Okay, so the next thing that happens in this context is we want to build the verification URL. We are going to build the verification URL based on the base URL of this application, and the parameter have to be provided as the access token to this URL, so that the user receives a URL with the access token that he can click and then get verified. So we have to build the verification URL, and it's going to take the base URL, of course, HTTP localhost, in this case of this application, the final string base URL, and so these are the two things that is going to make up this URL. Okay, so the URL is going to be a string. URL is equal to URI component builder from, and it's going to be from the base URL. Now we are going to provide a path. We're going to provide register. Now this will be the endpoint where when the user clicks on the link, it takes him to this endpoint, the verify endpoint, and we are going to provide the query parameter, the token as the query parameter. Name is token, and it's going to be the token. And then we are going to convert to string, to URI string. After building this URL, we are going to put it into the context. So we are going to put. Okay, so these are things that happen in the account verification email context. It initializes the email, creates a context, sets the token, builds the verification URL, and puts everything that needs to be in the context. Let's now proceed to create the actual email service that actually performs some operations. So I'm going to stop here and let's continue in the next part.